right? So moving on to the next section, that's your personal interview. So when you're talking about the personal interview, on the day of the interview, there are a few things that you need to do. Read the day's economic and political headline. So on the interviews, on the day that you have an interview, please do not miss the newspaper of that day, because it's very much possible that the interview might ask you questions on what has happened today itself. And you'll be like, I'm not even aware about it. So, right, so be updated with that day's news also. Learn your resume well. Learn your resume well. Why do I say that? Because what happens is when you're being questioned, if someone is, if say the interviewer is questioning as to, you've written something about this fest over here, and you're like, if you have to think for 5 seconds, 10 seconds, it's a bad impression. Maybe you're lying on your resume. At least whatever is there in your resume, it should be by heart. By heart in the sense I need to know the content of my resume, not exactly in the same serial order, but it's about your life. Obvious that you need to remember whatever you've put in your resume. And a lot of times what happens is, did I put this in my resume? Did I not put this in my resume? That also happens. So you need to be very sure as to what all you have mentioned in your resume. You cannot go wrong with that. Smile and make eye contact. Please do not seem to be nervous. Please do not seem to be nervous. So you have to be smiling when you are talking. Don't smile like an idiot also, but at the same time don't be very nervous. Don't show that nervous. Don't be nervous on the face. On kariye, हाँ एक दो कर दीजिए. So don't be very nervous. Don't let that nervousness show. You need to be smiling, right? So smile a little bit, make eye contact. Do not look on the floor. Do not look at the screen. Do not look on his notepad कि वो क्या score दे रहा है. Don't do all that. Make eye contact. It's very important. Because the person feels involved. Make an eye contact with the person. And if there are 2-3 interviewers, make an eye contact with everybody. Right? Ghurna bhi mat. Don't stare at the person and make the person awkward or something. But make an eye contact. It's very important. Do not sit with an open fist. It should be an open palm. Not this, but an open palm. Do not sit with an open fist. It's not a good body language. Right? Say good afternoon even in the evening. You don't say good evening. You say good afternoon even in the evening. Even it's 4 o'clock, you say good afternoon. And good night to mat bolna, please. So even if it's 7 o'clock in the evening that you're giving interviews, and it happens that your interviews and all stretch towards the evening, it gets late, with multiple rounds throughout the day and all. Good afternoon. Late in the evening is when you use good evening. 4 o'clock, good afternoon. You use good afternoon for that. Instead of repeatedly saying good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon, if there are 3 people inside, good afternoon everyone, or a better, what I would prefer is good afternoon sir, ma'am. So basically you've addressed 3 people, you've said good afternoon once, and you've acknowledged 3 people for the same. Good afternoon sir, ma'am. Good afternoon sir, good afternoon sir, good afternoon. Rubbish. It gets very irritating. It's like, those Kapil Sharma ka show mein, there'll be this one person will get up and he'll be doing namaste to everybody who's there, and then the person will start talking. It gets very irritating. Don't do that. It's very annoying. Good afternoon, sir, ma'am. That's enough. Instead of don't cross your legs again, as I've mentioned. Now your portfolio. So portfolio is basically all your certificates, your resume and everything that you're going to be carrying with you. So try to have those in a chronological manner. Chronological matlab, don't have class 1 ka certificate, say class 12 ka certificate, so that he's continuously flipping class 1, class 2, class 3, class 4. Don't do that. Have it in a chronological order. The best way to do is, you should have a folder which has see-through jackets. Don't try to have very heavy, those leather ones and all, whatever. Just buy a very simple resume profile. It has see-through jackets. The first one needs to be a resume. The first page needs to be a resume. Once you start flipping, you need to have your certificates, and the certificates need to be in a chronological order. My CA first, then the BCom certificates, then the school certificates, and keep it till class 1 if you want. It's okay. Don't try to make it too heavy as well. Not class 1, I would say. Still class 9 ke, try to restrict yourself to until class 9 and not go beyond that, definitely. So it should be in the chronological order, and the first one needs to be resume. One more thing, do not carry only one copy of resume, carry multiple copies of resume, because what happens is they might ask you for a resume. So in the first leaf itself, try to keep 5-7 resumes in that first jacket only. So even if someone asks you to hand over one resume, you hand over the one and there's another resume behind it. So try to do that. Try to have multiple copies of your resume. It's going to be important, and the first one needs to be a resume. And keep it in your left hand. Why? Because you're going to be shaking hands probably, and you're not going to be using left hand for that. Right? It's not a high five, you're doing a shake hand, so that needs to be with your right hand. right? So it needs to be with the right hand. Therefore, keep the jacket in left hand. Otherwise, you'll be clumsy. Right hand mein hai, usko I'll transfer to the left hand. Then I'll be shaking hands with the right hand. So it becomes clumsy. So don't do that. Keep your portfolio in your left hand. So I hope I'm backing up every point that I'm making with a particular reason. So it's justified. So say for example, when you're going for a CAT interview, why MBA, why this college, why this profile when you're going to a company, why this company, that's going to be a very commonly asked question. So I've just listed a few questions which is very commonly asked. Why this college, why MBA, why this company, why this profile? That's one of the most basic questions that you start off with. The first question in all probability will be, tell us something about yourself. So the person who's actually going through your resume is not going to be the person who's actually interviewing you. So your resume is going to be passing through a lot of stages till you are selected for the interview, and the person who's going to be interviewing, generally you have an HR round where the HR talks, it's more of a formality in nature, and there is the most important round is the person who's taking the round, you are going to be going into that person's team or that person's department. So if it's a tax department, hiring by the tax department, generally your tax manager, the general manager or whoever is in a good position in the tax department will be taking your interview, because ultimately you are going to be working in his team. So he needs to have the right to select you, right? Because ultimately you're going to his team. So tell us something about, so he will get the resume, he'll briefly glance through your resume in 15-20 seconds and he will expect, bhai, tell us something about yourself. I don't feel like reading your resume, you tell me something about yourself. So that is going to be one of the first questions, and we'll discuss the details of this one in the next slide. So we'll discuss what you need to answer in that. Tell us something about yourself does not mean you start iterating your resume. You don't need to start just speaking about your resume. So when tell us something about yourself, graduate from Xavier's, I've done this, I've been a corporate trainer, this, and then you start off. So you just need to give 5-7 lines, you need to summarize your resume in 5-7 lines, the way we were doing in the cover letter. And then we need to talk something more about ourselves. I'll discuss what we'll do in this. SWOT analysis. So tell us something about your strengths and weaknesses, or do a SWOT analysis of yourself. That is a common question. Strength and weakness is a very common question. Please, strengths may don't say that it's fine that you're very hardworking, I'm very punctual, I'm very disciplined, I'll do everything, just take me home. Don't do that. Just don't do that. It's very irritating. And weaknesses don't say that I don't have any weaknesses, or I've corrected all my weaknesses, or don't try to put your strengths in a sugar-coated manner in your weakness, that as I told you that I'm very obsessed with working, and I don't give family time and therefore I work too hard. Don't try to put in all these things this way. Try to be a little legitimate. Don't try to give your weakness in a manner wherein it's actually going to harm you also. Say for example, I have to talk about strengths. I'm not going to say I'm hardworking. I'll say I'm hardworking because since my board examinations, I was made aware that I need to build a career for myself, and I do not have a family business to fall back on, and therefore I've been very hardworking from that very moment, because I know that I have to build something of myself. So when I'm placing this, when I'm backing it up with a reason, with a logic, with an example of my own life, it seems to be more plausible. I can manage things very well, or I can manage things very well because simultaneously I have my consulting work and I'm managing this and this also. So back up whatever strength you're trying to put in, back it up with a very legitimate example and try to sell yourself. Ultimately, you're trying to sell the number of hours. I'm selling my 40 hours when I'm going for a job. That's what you're doing. So you need to sell your qualities. It might not sound very nice, but that's exactly what you're doing out there. Then when you're talking about weaknesses, maybe I'll talk about the weaknesses that maybe at times my deadline, I make sure that I meet the deadlines, but I take there is a lot of work that is done towards the end, because then I get because I try to make I overthink at times a little, and therefore my work is very much towards the deadline. The more amount of work is done towards the end of the deadline or something. Maybe that could be a weakness, I would say, suppose, for example. So there could be a weakness wherein you need to put in, and also at the same time, and I'm working on it by always having a timetable or milestones to check the progress of work. So you've stated a weakness, you've also stated at the same time what you're doing in order to correct that weakness. That shows that weakness to hoga na, we're humans, we'll have weaknesses, but are you proactively doing something in order to counteract that weaknesses? So have 2 weaknesses at the max, And also at the same, and that should be something which is genuine. Try to be as genuine as possible, because you'll be very confident. If I'm talking something which is actually what I feel, I'll be able to justify and I'll be very confident about it in the interview. So be very, very genuine as much as possible. I'm not trying to ask you to be an absolute Harishchandra out there, but at the same time, try not to be absolutely fake. It's going to help you. Right? So weakness ke saath mein, with the weakness, make sure you also have an argument or a measure or something that you're proactively doing in order to rectify that. That'll help. The next one is going to be where do you see yourself 5 years from now? That's a very general question. 5 years, 10 years from now. Don't say I see myself in your position, in your chair. Don't give all those roadies answer and all those kind of things. Don't do that. So, and don't try to be too modest also. Don't try to be too ambitious. I would not say that. Don't try to be too ambitious. I would not say that. But think about it, where you actually see yourself 5 years from now. Say for example, I see myself 5 years from now probably completing my PhD sometime, and let's say having more consulting work and trainings in even bigger companies than what I'm doing, and maybe teaching in even higher levels of B schools or something like that. Or maybe I want to take a lecture abroad somewhere. So maybe that is somewhere I see. Or maybe reaching out to a larger audience for my sessions. Or maybe I would love to see a standing ovation from a crowd, maybe something like that. Whatever you feel. Now, for going for a typical job or something, I might be seeing myself in a good position is something which is a very cliche answer, but when I'll say that I see myself in a role where I'm managing multiple facets of the business, because I want more kind of work, I want more diversity. So that's anyways talking about that you're climbing the ladder. Only then you will have multiple facets of the business. I see myself liked by the team that I'm working in. So that talks about your camaraderie, that talks about your teamwork, that you're someone who's a good leader who wants to take people with them rather than boss around people. You're not supposed to be bossing around. You'll never be a good leader. You'll never be a good business manager in that case. I hope I'm in a good position. I can manage multiple people, and at the same time I'm liked by them. That's very important. So small things, you have to build up your answer. I'm just thinking very impromptu that these are the kind of things that I'd probably say. So where do you think, see yourself 5 years from now? You need to see that. I see myself in a bungalow with a swimming pool is a very bad answer. Don't do that. Don't do that. You can also include your fitness goals and all. I mean, like say for example, I might include that, I see myself being a little more fitter because of the kind of work and the kind of working environment and the kind of food and all we consume. I see myself to be a little healthier by that point of time. That's absolutely fine to give that as an answer. You'll actually be different, because nobody's going to be keeping that in their career goals, in their 5-year goals. That might be a good thing to say. Favorite movie, actor, advertisement, businessman and all. It's like, at times what happens is the interviewer might want to put you in a at ease. Okay, so do you watch movies? What do you do in your free time? So aapne bola ki, so say for example, I'll say that I like to catch up with all the latest movies and the sitcoms and all. So next question is, acha last kaun sa movie dekha? Which movie did you see last? Which sitcom did you see last? So I'd be like, I'm seeing Closer. I'm in the 5th season of Closer. I'm seeing Closer because I like detective sitcoms. I like sitcoms around a mystery, and so that could be an answer. And along with that, I'm also watching Billions at the same time, and that's into the hedge fund area and all. So I also bring in something, and I'm watching something of my area of interest. So Billions is a good sitcom, or maybe I'll make it up. I'm not watching Suits right now, but maybe I'll lie about it. I've seen 4 seasons, so I can always say that I'm watching Suits right now because I think it's amazing the way they're working and the way they are, the way Harvey Specter comes out of every single problem and situation. I love that. So it's also giving an intellectual side of yours in that. So you need to be prepared with these answers also. Movie and all, please don't give Ragini MMS and all. Please don't give these movies. And not even a very masala movie, Houseful and all. Sajid Khan is absolutely a no-no. And please, books mein kabhi Chetan Bhagat mat bolna. Please don't do that. So come up with something good. Like say for example, if I'm not being able to think of something, Hindi Medium was the last movie I saw, and it was giving a social message or something. And don't try to be too patriotic also. Don't try to give like Bhagat Singh is my favorite movie and all. If you genuinely mean it, it's fine, but don't try to show something that you're not. Right? So qualities you possess for a particular job. Why should we hire you? why should we take you? So that's again going to be something very similar to the strengths, but then your qualities, like I have a good technical experience. So in your qualities, I have a good technical sound experience in the area of work that I've been doing, and therefore I'll be fit for the profile because I've already learned these things. Say for example, I'm very good with the Excel skills and all. Like I know and I'm not going to say that I have a certificate from XYZ Institute. I have good skills because I'm good with dashboards and power pivots, and let's say I know how to use VBA coding and all in the Excel area and all. So I will be in a better way to meet deadlines and all because my technical skills are very sound, and at the same time being very well read and having worked in so and so profile, therefore I have a knowledge about this. Or because I have say for example, I might be a fresher, but actually what plays to my advantage is that because recently I have appeared for an exam on GST and all, therefore I'm better suited to the role because I have actually spent in those many hours in the classes and preparing for the paper. So I have an in-depth knowledge about GST. So even though I'm a fresher, I think that's a very important quality that I have. So playing your weakness to the strength. I'm a fresher, but I'm better because you have not spent those 100 hours studying GST and in the IDT curriculum of CA Final, but I have done that. So that is why hire me. You're understanding how do you play your strengths. So that is how you need to go about it. So there are questions, challenges, any challenges or adversities or success that you faced in life, about your successes. So it need not be something which you've been applauded for or something. Like your success could mean something as small as you've done something in your community. Maybe you organized a Swachh Bharat campaign in your complex or in your society, even though there was so much of resilience and nobody was even bothering to come out on a Sunday. But by continuously WhatsApping, creating groups and proactively you've done something, and I had a sense of I felt a sense of leadership or something like that when I was doing that. So success need not be a success in a degree or a fest or a management fest or a competition always. Success could be something that is coming from something as simple as this, right? Success could be something, say for example, in my marriage I convinced my parents and something like that, whatever gifts we received was all, I made sure that I put in my marriage card that, gifts in the form of cash only, and I donated everything. That could be a success, that you convinced your family to go against the traditional way the family is meant. And there was a wedding there where people called in, underprivileged children were called in to dine at a couple's wedding, and that was out in the newspapers and all. So that is a huge success, that you had the guts to go against the society or be different from the society and do something for people. That's great. That is also a part of success. So it need not be, it could be something very personal for you, right? It could be something very personal for you. So like, I don't use this answer now, but when I was preparing for my B-school interviews or something, the success, because that time I did not have any work experience and all, the success I used to talk about was one of the college fests and all. So it was very, I would not like to be photographed and all, and I was little, I would participate in all the finance and management events and all. So even though I do not like to, I might not be an extrovert in my personal life, but the fest demanded me to beg on the street, sell thumbs up on the street for 3 hours, to beg to have myself photographed by entering. Like we had a competition where we had to get a photograph in the barber shop, photograph inside a school. So we had to actually literally, get into other people's property and get ourselves clicked and all. So I had to get myself clicked and all. I had to do all that. So that was something going against my nature. So winning the fest is not a big deal. But doing something which is against my nature because I had to do it, that was something of a big deal. So the success is how you look at it and how you define it. So you don't have to exaggerate that, okay, I did this degree, that degree, and therefore I'm successful. No, that is already there on the resume. Highlight something else. So highlight some personal attribute of yours if you can. So any adversities or any challenges. Now I'm fortunate enough, so I say that I've been fortunate enough that I've not faced any major adversities in my life. So it's possible you've not faced an adversity and you don't have to come up with you might not have to make up something for it. And you should feel blessed. So don't think, shit, yeah, mera to koi adversity nahi hai. Now what will I answer in the interview? Come on. So I'm blessed that I've not faced any major adversity in my life, and I'm very blessed for that. Thanks to my parents who've brought me up in this way. Probably you can answer that question absolutely. Why should we take you? Why are you better than others? So when they are saying why are you better than others, so I cannot comment about others. I can only highlight what, highlight about myself. Don't say that I'm better than everybody else because I've got this degree, I've got that, I'm hardworking. So everybody is hardworking. I'm more disciplined. Everybody is disciplined. Everybody is willing to do a lot of hard work and all. So don't go to that level that, that I'm better than everybody else. Don't say the answer that I'm better than everybody else, because I cannot comment about the rest of it. I can just talk about myself, and this is what is good about me. Right? So think about that. I'll come to the questions. I'll take your questions. So then you have this very regular question, tell us something about yourself. So generally, tell us something about yourself. You may actually skip talking about your name. My name is Aswini Bajaj. I might not say that because he can read it in his resume. And it's also possible my name is Aswini Bajaj, because it's possible that, the moment you enter the interview room and the person says, tell us something about yourself. If you've not already introduced yourself, you will introduce yourself, no? Like if you've already said before, okay, hi, Aswini here, my name is Aswini Bajaj, because the person will ask your name, please, because the person generally asks, because there are so many candidates for the interview. So the interviewer is going to ask, what is your name? So then if you've already said my name is Aswini Bajaj, then I am not going to again say when I start with my introduction, my name is so-and-so. Only if I have not said my name earlier, then I will start my conversation, my answer as to tell us something about yourself with my name. Otherwise not. I'll not repeat it. Right? So you can talk about your family. You need to talk about your family. You don't need to just, recite your resume. What you need to do is, I belong to a normal family where where my mom is a homemaker, but of course that takes a lot, and I've got 3 siblings and I've been brought up this way. You need to give a little brief about your family because people want to know, and it puts you to an ease. The interviewer is not someone who's going to eat you up, so don't be nervous. Generally, good interviewers, genuinely, they will be like, do you need water? They'll make you comfortable. Are you okay? Are you okay? You want to answer? If someone is getting nervous, then we do that. When we are interviewing people, I do that. Everybody does that generally. Then take a minute, think about it. If someone is sweating too much, is getting nervous, he started stammering or something, we tell them, take a minute and then answer. It's okay. We want the best of it to be out. He might be nervous on the interview date. We want to see whether he's going to be performing in the job or not. So we don't want to put the person under pressure. So don't feel under pressure when you're going for an interview. So family is something you need to talk about. Alma mater, you can talk about the college or the university that you've studied from. You can give a couple of lines over there. Your education in just a nutshell, very nutshell. I got this much marks, I got this much marks. Please don't do that. I stood first in this, second in this. Don't do that. That's there in your resume. In a very short manner, I've qualified from this in this college, and my major stream was commerce, or I specialize in finance, and these are the degrees I've done. So in a very short manner. Your work experience is something you could be highlighting about, and because I've worked in multiple companies before, but the last company that I've been working was in this profile. So basically I've spent about 5 years in this profile, and the last 10 years, so I've been working for 15 years. The first 5 years was in this profile, and in the last 10 years I've been working in this and this. I have been growing in my organization, wherein earlier I used to take part of this XYZ area, and now I have been specializing in the Z area. So that is how you build up your work experience. I worked in this company from this date to this date. Rubbish. That's given in your resume. You don't need to recite it that way. You'll give a general idea, right? You're not going to be reciting the 20 companies you've worked in. For the last 10 years, for the last 3 years, I've been in industry, and in the last 2 years, recently my role has been majorly into this area. So just a brief, a very subjective brief about your work experience. Your hobbies and interests you can mention. So your serial order should be about your education and work experience first, then your family a little bit, maybe work, education, family, and then the experience part. Then you get into the hobbies portion, or maybe first the achievements, then the hobbies part, because you want to highlight hobbies and all. I'll not say that I got first in this college, this college, this college. I like a lot of writing, and also I've participated in a lot of debating competitions. I've also done a lot of work in the social work area. I was a part of a student exchange program in Ireland, and with respect to the academics, and I've done pretty decently. So you just put it in a very rough manner. You don't say yay fest, yay fest, yay fest. I've been very actively participating in all the fests and a lot of community work, and especially with the student exchange program where I had to go to Ireland. So I have highlighted one part which I wanted. I want the person to question me. Always try to take your interview in that direction where you want to spend the most time with. Don't try to steer, when you're talking about tell us something about yourself, try to steer the conversation, try to give him 2-3 those points on which you want to discuss. Because if you can have a rehearsed interview, say for example, if I'm giving you questions wherein you don't know the answer, obviously you'll not give a very good answer about it. But if you have already prepared on a few pointers, and if you can drag your interview towards that area, don't you think you'll be in a better position to answer? And don't give an answer, don't recite very quickly, don't talk very fast. I have a habit of talking a little fast, but don't be very fast and very quick when you're talking. It's not a very good idea. Right? And don't give a mugged up answer. If you're giving a very prepared answer, it's not a very good idea. Now, if I'm having a conversation with you, I have a 2-hour session with you, a 2.5-hour session with you, I cannot have all the sentences mugged up and recite in front of you. I just have the pointers. When I'm giving you a presentation over here, I'm using the presentation as a key point so that it's guiding me as to the flow of the presentation. So you need to mug up before the interview, but you need to mug up the points before the interview and not the whole sentences. Don't prepare sentences. Don't prepare an answer, tell us something about yourself. Okay, weakness hai, I'm supposed to be talking about this one. Achha, I'll mention this first over there. So remember that. Okay, this is the weakness. This is the example I'm going to use. But frame it. Practice it in your mind, but don't mug up sentences. That's a very bad way of doing it. It will not work in your favor. It's not going to work in your favor. Aims, goals, why this job and why this company, you can put it in towards the end, and so this is all about me and here I am because I want to be a part of your company. So you can end that, tell us about something about yourself in that manner. And since you have an opening in the profile, I've been looking forward to working with your company, and I've been looking forward to a profile shift. Say for example, I'm trying to shift from a profile. So maybe I'll say, now it might sound to be a disadvantage, but maybe I'll say that, because I've been working in the auditing, in the XYZ profile for so long that maybe I'll be, and I have been looking for a profile shift for a while, and maybe I'll be a good addition to your team because I'll be able to bring diversity to your team because I'll bring this expertise. Maybe you have a taxation team, but I'll bring the expertise. I've been in the financial reporting part. So, when analyzing the tax frauds and all, I'll be a good addition to the team because I'll be bringing the financial reporting expertise to the tax department. So you actually changed the disadvantage to again your advantage, and therefore here I am. So that's how I conclude my tell us something about yourself. And I've also said that I'm looking for a profile shift, and I'm better for your profile because in your team everybody's a tax expert, but I am a financial reporting expert. So you need the financial reports also to be analyzed very well when you're looking for a taxation. So although it's a disadvantage that you're looking for a profile shift, but try to tell him that, hire me, I'm better because you have 15 consultants in tax already. Take me because that is going to be a good diversity, and I'll be able to help you in those areas where the others might not. Do not brag about yourself that main ye hu, I'm top, I'm this, I'm that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Please don't do that. Everybody's going to try to do that. So don't brag about yourself. Try to be a little grounded. Nobody wants to have a brat around themselves in a team. Do not utter out your resume because the person already has that, so don't do that. Do not mug up and say an essay. Learn the points, have a normal conversation or something prepared, and work accordingly. Do not have the whole essay done. Now, in a dress code, a lot of people have this ki dress code mein kya hona chahiye. Now, a lot of people will argue, I'll say a solid color shirt is something that I advise. Now, you'll say ki why not striped? Arey solid hai to pehen lo na. Why do you have to argue and wear a striped? Okay, striped might be okay, but it's preferred to go for a solid color shirt. And there is no harm in wearing a solid color shirt. You must be having one. Black trousers are preferred, or a navy blue trouser, or a dark grey, steel grey trousers preferred. So we try to prefer the darker shades on the trouser and lighter shades on the shirt. That's what we prefer for a formal interview. Right? Black and all does not go. Black is not the color for corporate for an interview. So what I'm wearing is not technically corporate interview attire. Socks and shoes should match, because what happens is when you sit, your trousers raise, and the person who's sitting on the other side, you never know that if there is a table in between, or your interviews are going to be happening on 2 chairs across. So your socks are visible, and the socks should match your shoes. Should match your trousers. Socks, shoes, and your trouser. You cannot have a black shoe and a brown sock. It looks weird. So that's why black shoes, black trousers, better. It's a better combination to go for. Your belt should not be flashy. Please do not have those large fake AX buckles and all. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. Don't have flashy buckles and all. Have a very decent, simple belt. It's very irritating to see flashy buckles and all. Shirts should have a pocket and a pen. So there are multiple shirts. There are certain shirts which have a pocket, certain shirts nowadays which do not have a pocket. You need to have a shirt with a pocket with a pen. Your pen might not be in the shirt pocket, it can be in the pocket of your trousers also, but in case you need to sign some document over there, you're not supposed to be asking for a pen over there. You're supposed to be carrying your own pen. And if it's in the pocket of your shirt, it's easier to access. If you're sitting and then you need a pen, taking out a pen from your trouser is going to be irritating. That's why the pen needs to be in the shirt. And of course the ink need not be, it should not have ink marks. So very small things, but I'm justifying everything, a small thing. Why not trouser? You should question, because when you're sitting, and now if I want to take a pen out of the trouser, it's a problem. But if I want to take it out from the shirt's pocket, it's easier. And that's why you need a shirt pocket. Correct? Everybody? So whatever I'm saying, there has to be a reason behind it. Tie length should be appropriate. That's very important. It's very ugly to see small ties and very loose hanging ties and all. So tie length should be appropriate. No sideburns. Please don't have flashy sideburns and all. You're not there for a fashion show or something. Your haircut needs to be clean. And please don't have those, like, I don't know what that style is called, but no hair over here and then there's a lump of hair over there. Please don't go with all that. Please don't go with all that for the interviews and all. You don't have to give a fashion statement out there. It needs to be clean and crisp. No spikes and all, please. So just have a very decent haircut, neat haircut, and you have to have a neat haircut. Long hair, unkempt hair, very untidy, very bad impression. You need to have a neat haircut. Even if there is a little bit of strands of hair I see on the ears, that need not be there. You need to have a clean haircut. None of these people, when you see anybody on the television for interviews, for chat shows, for talk shows and all, never ever would you see anybody with a bad haircut. Except for Ranveer Singh with the BCCI, he was there in the cricketing. Rubbish. So this guy is an outcast when you talk. I mean, anyways, I'm not discussing about him. But when you're talking about corporates and all, please have a decent haircut. It's very important. White handkerchief, not a colored handkerchief. Because it's possible you're sweating and you need to take out the handkerchief. So that is also visible. White handkerchief. Clean one. Do not smell of strong aftershave. These things are also very important, because ultimately what happens, you're shaving in the morning and then you go and there's a strong smell. Not too much of perfume and all. And try not to stink as well. Leather belt watch is preferred. Technically a steel belt watch, a steel belt is not formal. Steel belt is not formal. It's preferred if you have a leather belt watch. Preferred. Most of the people might not even know about it. But it's preferred to have a leather belt watch. Women may opt for elegant Indian wear. It could be a sari, it could be a suit, it could be a kurti. That's allowed. But when you're going, it needs to be decent. The clothes needs to be decent. It preferred if you have a full sleeve shirt. You might go with a tie. You might go with a scarf as well. You might go with a tie. Women might also go with a scarf. Scarf seems better. It's preferred if you have a blazer. It's preferred if you have a blazer. If you do not want to carry the blazer, that's also fine. It's preferred. For men, a suit is good. It also depends for the kind of interview and all you're going for. But a tie and a suit is good for men. For women, a scarf with a blazer or a proper suit, basically your matching trouser and blazer, is a better idea. And try to be formally dressed in formals, not Indian. Although it's not a problem if you're dressed in Indian. Of course, if you're dressed in Indian, it cannot be shimmery and stones and all that. It's not allowed. You cannot have large chandeliers hanging in your ears. You cannot have that. You definitely cannot do that. You cannot have shiny purses, large, huge bags and all. If you're carrying one bag which can hold your portfolio and whatever you need, it's fine. You do not keep your purse on the table. You keep the purse at the side, on the left side of your chair. Right? So you have to see, if there is no space, then you can keep it on the table. But better than keeping on the table is keeping on the lap. And the first option is at the left side of your chair, niche. The second option is on your lap. And it should not come in between. Do not keep it on the table. It's a bad idea. Because you seem to be clumsy. Pani gir gaya, water spilled over, or something you'll drop or something. It's not a good idea. And it should not come in between the interviewer and you. You have to have your buttons up. Men and women both. You have to have your buttons up. You cannot have open hair. Women. You have to have your hair neatly tied. That's important. No flashy clutch and all. It needs to be tied very simply, very neatly. Your hair needs to be neat. It should not be falling. You should not have strands of hair falling across your face. It's very irritating to see, and continuously you're doing this. It's very annoying. Don't do that. I know it's very small things, but you're not supposed to be distracting. And please do not have glossy makeup. Do not have glittering makeup. That's very wrong. That's very wrong. You can apply makeup, but that needs to be very, very subtle. It need not strike the eye. Small things, very important. Small things, but very important. So when you're dressed, and do not, when you're looking for your shoes, again, not very shiny. Try to have black shoes, not too much heel. Not too much heel. May not be exactly flats, but have a proper formal shoes. Not your sandals and those leathery, those I don't know what you call those, with those straps and all that, not working. All those things are not working in your shoes and all. It needs to be proper formal shoes, formal sandals, if that's required. Men, it's fine, formal sandals, formal shoes. It may be with the laces, without the laces, preferred with the laces. It could be either ways. Again, on the shoes, not too jazzy, and again, the buckles and all, and the shiny and all that stuff, you have to avoid that, please. And you can have that, at least one decent clothing for your interview. You should have that. Right? So think about all these things. Your dress code and all I think I've covered almost everything. I've tried to be as specific as possible. It might not, people might not be that, picky when they're looking at you, but at least even when I'm going to judge a business fest, if I don't find someone's shoes, I make it a point that I'm pointing that out. That you're not wearing a shoes, or you're not, and your shirts are tucked in and all. Please see to all those things. See to all those things. Even guys, if you're carrying your laptop, bag and all, not on the table, on the left side of the chair. On the left side of the chair. Just I'll give you a few examples. So there was this friend of mine, he was interviewing in Pune for a company, for a reputed MNC, and he was getting very uncomfortable with the tie. So what he chose to do was, instead of screwing up his interview, because he was feeling very hot, he was getting nervous, it's fine, and it's normal, right? He asked the interviewer, so I'm not comfortable, is it okay if I loosen up my tie and open the shirt's button, open the top button, or can I loosen up my tie? He asked the interviewer, he loosened the knot, he opened the first button, and then the interview went really well. It's fine. And the interview on the other side, Arey, we are very sorry, because of this corporate environment, we have this dress code and all. Please be comfortable. We want to see how you work, how you're gonna gel in the team, and how you're gonna work. Not how you can be, how I can nail you, grill you in the nervous area. It's not a roadies interview. I'm not trying to stress you out over there. So right, so if you're uncomfortable, so I mean, instead of answering poorly, instead of screwing up the interview, politely ask for it. Sir, if you don't mind, could I have a glass of water? Could I ask for a glass of water, please? Don't ask him ki bhai serve karo. Could I ask for a glass of water, please? So, and when you enter the interview room, just don't go and sit down, bang on. Wait for the person to let you sit. Don't sit before you're asked to. When you're entering the door, just don't enter. Just enter the door, and if the person is like, he's already saying, bhai, don't ask him, may I come in then? Obviously, it's redundant. So may I come in is also not required. May I, sir? And the person is on the other end is automatically going to ask you in. So think about these things. Your etiquettes and all these things need to be very, very strong. And once you're going out, please don't slam the door. Make sure you're holding the knob of the door and actually closing it, because hawa se, if because of air or because of it bangs and it closes very quickly and it makes a sound, it's disrespectful. So make sure when you're leaving the room, you're holding the doorknob and then closing it. It might sound that I'm getting into such specifics, but I'm telling you, all these things are going to be very important when you're looking for an interview. Try at least whatever we can, try to make everything in the most perfect way, right? And I'm getting into very detailed manner. If you do not know an answer, please say, I do not know. It's okay. If you think that, don't try to think that I'm going to make a fool out of the interviewer. If you think that you are like 60% sure or 40% sure, sir, may I guess a risk? I mean, I would not like to guess a risk, or I'm not sure about this answer, but according to me, this, or I would not want to guess a risk. I would not want to take a risk. I would not want to guess a risk. So basically that tells the other person ki ye sure nahi hai. So now conditions apply. Now at your own risk you ask me, and then the person will say, okay, still try, I would like to hear. So then when you're answering, you have already given a disclaimer, I might be wrong. Suppose someone is questioning me on GST or on taxation. I'll give that I'm not very much updated about the taxation area because that's not my area of expertise. Whenever there is any tax requirement for my valuation, for my work, I make sure that I consult someone else. So it's fine. Don't be dishonest. Honesty is always going to take you much further ahead than being dishonest. Always. Maybe exaggerate a little bit, but do not be dishonest in your interview. If you don't know something, say that I'm not very sure about this, or I don't want to risk a guess. I do not know about it. If there are 2-3 answers that's gone wrong, or that's something that you did not know about. So in case a person is asking you on taxation, so actually I do not know about this because I've not been very updated with the tax laws that's happening around. But what I'm actually keen on, I'm actually keen on learning, and I'll make sure that I'm updating myself on that. But at the same time, I've been focusing more on the finance area and the Excel skills and this and that and what. And then you are actually steering the conversation towards something which is your area of expertise. So you need to divert the conversation where you want to take it. Everybody with me? Now when the job process and all, there was this article that came that Jack Ma had given over there. He was talking about the pains of internet being disrupting and all. Be prepared, be strong, the economy is changing. So when you're looking at the job prospect, when you're looking at applying to colleges, to for jobs and all, don't try to have a very rosy picture, because what happens is people will try to build in order to sell the courses, in order to they'll show you a level that they'll show you a picture, something over here, and when the outcome is over here, you feel very disheartened. It's very important that you start working. Don't think of it, okay, I need a pay of this much, I need 10 lakh rupees and I'm getting 8 lakh rupees, I'll not settle for it. Don't do that. I'm not asking you to settle for 4 lakh also, because then the pay will rise accordingly. But don't be very rigid. Be prepared, be strong, the economy is changing and there will be a lot of no that you'll have to face, probably. So be prepared for it. It's normal. There are so many. There are 100 applicants. There will be 2 applicants which will be chosen. There will be 98 applicants which will be turned down. And they will get something even maybe better profile or something later on. So you cannot always, you have to be strong in the application process. Don't get disheartened. Adapt to change and invest in yourself. A lot of people apply for jobs and all just on the basis of the degree or something. At the same time, it's very important, as we discussed, your group discussion needs to be cracked. So even if you have a degree, you need to be very much updated about all the knowledge around. When your personal interview, your communication skills needs to be there. It's not easy. You have to sell your skills. So even if I have a degree, if I'm not able to talk, how do I participate? How will I work in the team? How will I give presentations? So it's very important. Your soft skills, your communication skills, your knowledge about the surroundings, because ultimately business you don't have to do a question and answer of your exam. It's going to be applying yourself. So you need to be very well versed with what's happening in the political and economic scenario around you. And your technical skills need not be only in the subject. Even if my accounts is good, ultimately I'll have to use Excel, PPT and all. And I'm not saying AppTech certification, NIIT certification or any XYZ institute certification. What you need to actually enhance, say for example, advanced lookup functions, and then the person is going to question, acha aapko Excel mein VLOOKUP aata hai? No, VLOOKUP is not a very good tool to use. I'd rather use an index match. 90% of the people use VLOOKUP, and VLOOKUP has got disadvantages which is taken care of by using index match, and it's easier. And then the interview will be something on your skills. You talk about advanced pivots. Okay, pivots though I know, but what is advanced pivots? That you can collate multiple sheets together. So you need to highlight it that way. Excel certificate likhunga, nothing will happen. But when I write, I can use VBA codes. Achha, you know VBA coding? No, I don't know VBA coding. But what happens is, I know how to use VBA codes. And for the most typical functions, I can Google up the VBA code and I can apply those VBA codes when I'm using Excel. So say for example, I'm creating an index in Excel. I don't have to type the names of the sheets. I'll just put one click and all the sheets names will be typed and automatically hyperlinked. So for what someone would spend 10 minutes, I'd spend only 5 seconds. That tells the interviewer that he's going to be in a better position to meet the deadlines. He's more efficient. Do jan ka kaam wo akele karega. He'll be able to perform the work of 2 people in one. So that is how you highlight. Not like I have done an Excel course. That's not what you write on your resume. So you need to highlight and sell your skills in that manner. Ultimately, the person needs to hire that kind of a candidate who's going to make his life easy, who's going to be, if I can work If I can do the work of 2 people, don't you think I can command the salary of 1.2 times which a normal person would be getting? Because ultimately I'm generating revenue, I'm doing the work of 2 people. So then if I'm asking for 1.2x the salary which a normal person asks, the company would be happy to pay me. I'll be in a better position to meet the deadlines and all, because I'm more efficient. So invest in your skills, it's very important. A lot of people complain, I'm not getting a job, I don't have a job. First invest in yourself, make yourselves better than the rest. I know it's a little race and I'm talking like a, Three Idiots principle like that, but ultimately you have to also upgrade your skills. I'm not asking you to mug up, I'm not asking you to be mechanical or something. I'm rather asking you to invest in yourself by reading, enhancing your knowledge about the surroundings and your technical skills and all, because that's going to be very, very important. And you have to continually grow. You cannot just say that, okay, I've got a job and now I'll just be doing that for the next. And if you are saying that, if you're complaining that same kaam kar, I'm doing the same thing over and over again, I'm not getting a promotion, I'm not getting a growth, where are you growing? What have you added to your resume over the year or two or something? And then you're complaining that I'm not getting a raise in the salary, I'm not getting a promotion, I'm not being able to shift in a profile. You don't have the right to complain. A lot of people complain without even realizing where have I shown a growth in me or my capabilities that the organization is going to be rewarding me for that. So I'm not trying to blame anybody for not getting a job. The economic scenario, you understand, is not even that great even at the moment. We're expecting the economy to be better, and you understand a lot of automation and all is happening, so we actually need to invest in ourselves a lot. Since a lot of automation and all is happening, I'm not trying to build a very pessimistic picture. I'm not trying to say कि degree है तो job नहीं मिलेगा. Degree नहीं होगा तो it's even going to be worse. So you need to invest, you need to do as much as you can. So, get a little serious about it. And I see this thing in most of the college goers and all, too much of distraction. The quality, the distraction level, the responsibility, so much of socializing, so much of nonsense that the real build is not there. That needs to be there. And before blaming the exams, the institutes, the job market and everything, it's there for everybody, right? So something that you cannot control, don't think about it. Rather invest in yourself. Invest in yourself. It's very important. So that's more or less about it from my side. We'll try to have this class uploaded online and we'll have the link sent over to you. And you could always connect. We'll try to make I'll try to get all these pointers and all across to you. So even if you've not noted it down, you anyways have the video online, and I'll try to send it across as well. And you can always connect Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, etc. You can always connect. You can just you have to just remember the name.